So it's been 3 years since Ableton set Live free from the computer and put it inside this amazing box, Push 3 Standalone. But is it worth spending almost $2,000 on this beauty? It's really awesome, but it has some cons too, so let's dive in and you will have better understanding of whether it's the device for you. Oh, by the way, I bought this Push 3 Standalone as a refurbished unit from Ableton's Reverb store, so this isn't sponsored, nor did I get a free unit. Make no mistake, this isn't some magic. What we have here is basically a laptop running Ableton Live inside this controller. And the hardware specs, while pretty modest for a computer, are actually absolutely sufficient for the purpose. It's still one of the most powerful Grooveboxes that you can buy today. And while it only comes with the intro version of Live, if you own Standard or Suite, you can unlock all the features. But even intro is, honestly, it's plenty for making beats on a Groovebox. But hey, this isn't just any Groovebox. This is an expressive musical instrument with its MPE enabled pads. Or I would also call it a workstation, as you can pretty much do everything with it, except arrange your tracks. This is something that Ableton have determined is best done on your computer, and I would say they are not wrong. I wouldn't want to arrange on this, but I've seen plenty of people online complain about this. However, I don't think the UI would work well for arrangement, and I guess Ableton didn't want to provide a subpar experience, so arrangement view isn't available, but at least you have follow actions, which allows you to essentially chain clips and scenes, and it works as a basic song mode. But the focus obviously is the integration with Ableton Live. Once you have Push 3 and your computer on the same Wi-Fi, Push appears in Live's browser, and loading projects to continue working on them is a quick and seamless experience. Same goes for loading samples, presets and projects onto Push. Just drag and drop to Push in Live's browser. I mean, I know traditionalists may be longing for SD card support to transfer material to and from the computer, but we don't have that, and frankly, the Wi-Fi and Ableton Cloud integration makes it easier and more convenient. And of course, I'm referring to the standalone version here, but you can get the controller version, which is exactly the same, it just lacks the built-in computer. But by plugging it to your Mac or PC, you get the exact same experience as on the standalone version. In fact, it arguably may be even better experience, as you still have access to third-party plugins. And there's no way to have these on Push 3 standalone, or honestly any other similar platform for that matter. But the cool thing is you can use Max for Live devices, which is pretty crazy and opens up a whole world of possibilities. And of course, all Ableton Live packs are compatible with it, including my own, which you can get from the link in the video description down below. So what it's like to actually use Ableton Push 3. So at the center is the 8x8 grid that represents the session view that we know from Ableton Live. And essentially you can do most things you can do with Live, like record instruments or anything as external audio, convert them to samples, chop them, sequence your parts like drums, synths, and built-in instruments with the step sequencer, or record them as MIDI in real time, of course, process them with effects, and man, you can do pretty much anything you can think of. You have access to all the parameters of the instruments and effects, and you can also edit your MIDI recordings. Audio editing is actually super limited compared to Live on the computer, but that's to be expected. And so the experience of doing all these things is actually really good. The workflow might take some time to get used to, especially if you haven't used an earlier version like Push 2, or if you aren't very familiar with Live, there will be some learning curve, but once you get comfortable with it, I'd say it's pretty dope. But if you're not like a Groovebox kind of person and if you are used to using the linear arrangement view, it may take even longer to get used to it, or honestly you may not get used to it at all. I'm just saying. So if I had to give my subjective rating of the workflow, I would say it's not as fast and smooth as Machine, but it's better than MPC, where I'm not a massive fan of the touchscreen workflow and overly complicated structure. And maybe MPC fans wouldn't agree, but that's just my subjective opinion and I stand by it. And honestly, the pads are really good for playing not only drums but melodic parts as well, and they support MPE for really expressive playing. And these are some of the best pads on the market. These are absolutely amazing, especially once you customize the sensitivity and the velocity curve to your liking in the setup menu. But for melodic parts, I definitely prefer playing with a keyboard, and I really like the fact that Push is a USB host, meaning you can just plug in a USB MIDI keyboard in the USB-A port on the back and start playing right away. And it's not only that, but all MIDI controllers that have official integration in Ableton Live work here on the Push 3 Standalone. And this feature is still in beta at the time of releasing this review, but you might be watching this in the future when it should be out officially. Same goes for MIDI mapping, another new feature that allows you to manually map any MIDI controller to parameters inside Push. But make no mistake, while the workflow is good, most operations are slower to do than with the mouse and keyboard. And this isn't so much of a consideration with standalone mode, where mouse and keyboard aren't an option anyway, but when it comes to using it as a controller, it is something to consider. As honestly, when using Live on the computer, I just use Ableton Move as a basic controller and do most things with mouse and keyboard. I discussed this in a previous video that I will link in the description down below. As for the hardware itself, it's built like a tank. Like, it's super sturdy, feels very high quality, and Ableton learned their lesson from Push 2, where the coating of the bottom panel literally became a sticky mess without you doing anything to it. So it's good that they didn't use the same coating here. So everything about it feels quite premium, and you also have the built-in audio interface with proper 1/4 inch ins and outs, the MIDI in and out ports, ADAT for expanding it with more ins and outs, so it's really well equipped to work with external hardware. So as I mentioned, it's basically a laptop inside a controller, which means it has a battery. However, the battery life is fairly short. Ableton claim like 2 to 2.5 hours, and honestly I haven't really tested it, but it feels like it's draining fairly quickly, which is to be expected because, again, a laptop with an older gen Intel CPU, these normally have terrible battery life, so what can you do? And like I also mentioned, the CPU power is adequate, and let's not forget that a more powerful CPU would probably require active cooling, which means fan noise, which on a device made for music would be kind of stupid and really annoying. So what are the actual pros and cons of Push 3 Standalone? And this is just my opinion, of course, but the pros are that it's built to last, it's like incredibly powerful, and also the fact that it's upgradable means that Ableton probably plan to support it for a very long time, which is kind of reassuring considering you're dropping a lot of money on it. And if you get the controller version and later you decide you want to go standalone, you can add the standalone functionality with the upgrade kit. And a huge advantage over other similar products is how easy it is to transfer projects to life on the computer, making it more likely to actually finish them instead of just messing around with some loops. And the workflow is nice, like the pads are great, and software-wise it has some incredible features. For example, the warping quality and functionality is better than any other similar device. You have the auto warp that can analyze and sync samples automatically even if they aren't cropped to an exact number of bars, and even if they have some slight tempo variations like stuff that's recorded live. I would say it's simply amazing to have these features from live inside this actual box. As for the cons, I already mentioned the short battery life, and to be honest, I don't really care about that because guess what? It's actually so big and heavy that I wouldn't really carry it anywhere. I have an Ableton Move for that purpose and also a actual laptop. And I know the lack of arrangement view is a problem for some people. I've seen this in comments on my previous videos. I'm personally totally fine with it, and follow actions works well for a basic song mode. Other cons that I've seen mentioned a lot online are the fact that it can't sample directly to a pad. You have to record to an audio track and then convert the audio to Simpler. But the fact that once you're in Simpler, chopping a sample is done on the spot without any converting makes up for this slight inconvenience. And also by recording the sample first to an audio track, you can take advantage of the intelligent auto warping that I mentioned earlier. And of course, you also have warping in Simpler, but it only works if the sample is properly cropped. Another downside, if you want to use it on your lap, I would say don't, because the heatsink on the bottom can get really hot. But again, this is the price you pay for not having any fan noise. This is passive cooling, so the heat has to dissipate from somewhere. Yeah, these aren't really cons for me personally. I just mentioned them because I know you guys care about these aspects, and I only really have one serious gripe with Ableton Push 3. And you might not expect it, but it's the buttons. Like, who decided that they should be so stiff and should require a firm press instead of just a quick tap? How come the people who beta tested this didn't convince them to change it? Kind of slows you down if you work intensely and you want to be fast. And the buttons on Push 2 were stiff and hard to press, and they actually went ahead and made this even stiffer. And okay, I understand, it definitely contributes to the device feeling extremely sturdy and well built, but at the expense of slowing you down. But hey, no device is perfect. Other than that, I'm really happy with it. I've made tons of tracks on it since I got it. After all, if you want Ableton Live in hardware form, this is it. It's really flexible and powerful, so if you're dead set on a standalone machine, I can totally recommend it. And if you're fine with being tethered to the computer, just get the controller version. And considering that the price difference between the controller and standalone is $1,000, you can get an actual computer that would be more powerful for about half the price of Ableton's built-in computer. So unless you're really into the standalone aspect, that would probably be the smarter choice for a lot of people. I have affiliate links in the video description to both, and buying from these links helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. These are links to Tone. But if you haven't seen my video where I compare it with Push 2 and Move, make sure to click the link on the screen to watch it so you get the full picture before making any decision. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new here, and I will catch you later.